Hey guys, how you doing? Long time no see. I haven't done a video in a long time. Anyway, today's video is going to be brief, I hope. Basically, it's just something that actually just keeps on coming up over and over and over again. You know, when you hear people talk about traditional martial arts, or when you hear people talk about MMA, and you hear people talk about street fighting, and so on and so forth. And I'm trying to, I guess the best way to explain it, for me, if I were to try to think things just in plain terms, it's like, you know, you have two doctors. You know, they both went to school, they both learned the same biology, they both learned the same science, they both understand the human anatomy, they both did everything exactly the same, okay? Then they graduated, and then they went off into becoming a doctor. Now, one doctor was a little bit more voracious, or a little bit more ambitious, and wanted to really do more and kind of move up the ladder, so to speak. And the other doctor was just happy and content with just taking care of patients. Now, not to say that the other one didn't want to take care of patients, but he had something else in mind in his future, and that was to really put his practice to another level. Okay, so here you have an example of two doctors who learned and did the same training, all of the prerequisites that are needed to become a doctor. And then yet one excelled, financially, in stature, in position, and so on, and was able to influence the world in a different way. While this doctor, just had a practice and did what he did and did it well, but, wasn't looking to take it over there. But if you were to ask both of them, separate times, separate places, just the basic tenets or foundations of what it is to be a doctor, of, let's just say, the human anatomy, they would both be able to give you the right answers because they both started from the same base, okay? So the way I kind of look at that is with respect to martial arts or fighting, mixed martial arts, traditional karate, kung fu, all that good stuff, is that there's that base, okay? And that base is something that all martial artists have. No one puts a gun to your head and say, you better learn this martial art. It's something that you choose. It's a choice that you have, just like you have specialized doctors. There's an ear and eye doctor, there's a lung doctor, there's a general doctor, and so on and so forth. These are the isolated specificities that they have in their arena that they wanted to go towards. So in the martial arts world, someone might want to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because that's what they wanted to do. That's what they saw, that's what they grew up loving to do. Another person might just go into boxing. Another person might do kickboxing. Another person might do grappling. Another person might do wrestling, and so on and so forth. Now, you can't take away the fact that each one of these had a desire to learn a martial art, and then hopefully have it become a part of them, something that they can say they took an art, or that this art is something that kind of fills them, fills this part of the desire in their life. So when I hear commentaries all over social media, or just in general, people who are in martial arts, who just want to hate on other martial arts, to me that says something more about the individual. So if wrestling, for example, is your thing, and that's what you love to do, and you do it well, and you're the best at it, and you're known for wrestling, then kudos to you. That's awesome. I mean, really, as an individual, as a human being, as a person, as a man or woman, You know, it should be the thing that you carry as your DNA. You know, like, hey, I'm John Doe, and this is what I do. This is what I love. This is my passion. This is what I'm good at. Not, you know, hey, I'm John Doe. This is what I do. That's why your art sucks. That's why you can't do this. That's why that. Because to me, I think that that says more about you and the lack of understanding that you have about martial arts. You know, when I took martial arts, when I started taking martial arts when I was younger, to me, I just thought it was something cool. I can fight. I can beat people up. And then, you know, of course, as you get older and you get an understanding of what being a true martial artist is, it's really to help pass this along to a new generation, so that ultimately, because we're all prepared physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, because we're prepared for that, that the more and more people are prepared for that, the less and less fights would happen, because everybody would respect each other. Or at least that's the utopian idea. But when I see people pushing and pinning against one another on which martial arts is good and which martial arts isn't, to me, I kind of liken that, or it's similar to me, like, you know, segregation, you know? Oh, these people need to go there. Oh, those are those people. Oh, those are these people. And, you know, in the martial arts community, I feel like we're doing a disservice when we start making all of these separations, because we're the ones making the separations, you know? And it's like, shame on you, because here you are, you're teaching an art, and this really goes to the root and shows, you know, why you're teaching the art. Well, what was the impetus of you teaching or wanting to teach the art? A lot of people want to teach an art, so that they can say, hey, listen, here's my black belt. This is what I do. I'm the king of this, and I will show you how to do this. And they like kind of like that, those accolades, those you know, pats on the shoulders, the proverbial pats on the shoulders. And then there are people who actually want to teach the arts so that it can get proliferated into a world where more and more people are feeling more self-confident about themselves, and the bullyism that now is so ubiquitous around the world would eventually just get squelched down, because we're all playing on the same playing field. And that, to me, is what a martial artist should really be living to strive towards. So another kind of, and so the catalyst of this whole thing, and the reason why I did this video, or am doing this video, is this whole, well, you know that mixed martial arts, MMA, you know, people in UFC, they're definitely better than this art. They're definitely better than this art. And then when I hear this from MMA guys, and I say, well, what does MMA stand for? And you know, hopefully they know, and that's mixed martial arts. And what's the first word again? Mixed. Okay, so what are we mixing? Martial arts. Okay, so you're saying that technically, if, let's say, boxing was an art, a martial art, and let's say grappling was another form of art, and we mix them, or we do both of them, then that would be technically a mixed martial art. So then we can apply this from karate to kung fu to Thai boxing, and so on and so forth. And then you start to see the logic where, okay, well then, yeah, different arts, then mix, that's mixed martial arts. Bingo, you got it. So now that being said, when you're learning an art and not fighting in a cage, whether you're doing it as an amateur or even professionally, but when you're doing it for self-defense, a self-defense, again, you know, the meaning is in the verbiage itself, self-defense. I'm going to defend myself. So when you go learn an art, is to defend yourself. As opposed to when you're learning mixed martial arts, and you want to take this mixed martial arts and you want to fight other mixed martial artists, again, either as an amateur or a pro, You got one guy who has his mixed martial arts, and you have another guy who has his mixed martial arts, and these two are going to train heavily, and then eventually they're going to sign a contract, and then they're going to get in a cage, and they're going to fight each other. Now, the whole thing about all of this is that they know what they're fighting for, what weight class, and where they're going to fight, and what they're going to be doing. So this guy trains heavy, heavy, heavy. This guy trains heavy, heavy, heavy. And they're both doing their respective art, or sometimes they're doing the exact same art. But they're all leading to one grand finale, and that is to get in that cage and then fight with a referee. So that's phenomenal. These people are built like beasts. They got stamina like nobody's business, and they're like gladiators. They're fighting each other. They prepare for this moment. So let's take that aside for a second, and let's take self-defense. So unfortunately, in self-defense, I'm not preparing myself in the morning as I put on my jeans and my shirt and button up my jacket, and I'm preparing myself to hopefully, once I pass and go into the city to go to work, that I'm preparing myself for a fight, a specific fight, just like the two MMA artists. Now, you should always be aware. That's why you practice. That's why you work out. That's why you train, so that if something were to happen, hopefully you'll be able to prepare yourself to fight. So the difference between the two guys who have been training for weeks on end, sometimes months, and then ultimately culminate into the one fight, the fight that they've been training for. I mean, they should fight like beasts. They've been working out like crazy, so they should fight like beasts. And there's a whole bunch of different things that are going on. Now, the guy who just wants to defend himself, here's where the major difference is. So if you look at me, right, I'm just a shabby looking dude. There's nothing strong or built about me. I don't walk around like an MMA guy, chiseled. So a guy like me who walks into the city and might walk into the wrong neighborhood, the guy who wants to confront me and do some harm to me, I try to avoid, okay? And then I see that his presence still continues to track me, and he clearly wants to do something to me and with me. So now, because he saw that I avoided it, and because he saw that I just don't want to fight, this is not what I wanted to do. I didn't go into the city to fight. I maybe went into the city to have a meeting. But nonetheless, here I am. I'm confronted with this individual. Now, here's the thing. I'm confronted with a guy who automatically took the stance as the alpha, okay? He's going to try to attack me because he wants to rob me, because he doesn't like my face, because he thinks I owe him money, whatever. Whatever his idea of what he wanted to fight me for is. But he comes and he confronts me, and now he wants to fight me. And he's ready to do something, or he puts his hand on me, or he cocks his hand back, and then boom, bam, I take care of business. 1, 2, 3, fast, bam, get myself in position, hurt him. Now, to me, that's self-defense. Now, yes, you should be training. I feel like everybody should be training. This should be a lifetime thing. This should not be I took a weekend course on how to defend myself, but that you know, and that your bones, and that your knuckles, and that your wrist, and that everything about you is sharpened. You should always do that. But the difference is, I'm preparing myself for a what if situation, for a maybe might happen situation, where these MMA guys that I mentioned earlier are specifically working towards a goal of getting into a cage on a specific day that they signed their life away to fight, okay? So they're preparing themselves. So when this guy gets in the cage and this guy gets in the cage, and they're both looking at each other at the end of each cage, at the end of the side of the cage, they already know that they're in for a fight. So their adrenaline is high, their muscles are tense, they're flexed. Everything that they did in the gym is going to culminate to this very day right now. Where the reality, in the example that I just gave you of me walking into the city, is unfortunately is not something that I get myself amped up and I put on my shorts and I put on my cup and I put in my mouthpiece and I get ready to fight and I get my gloves. I don't have that luxury, okay? That's what all the training is for. So what I do have is possibly the ability to go into my psyche and go back into muscle memory and go into a place of everything that I've been training for and say, okay, my confidence is bolstered. I don't feel like this guy's gonna just push me around. It's like, okay, this is it. He's here. I gotta take care of action. So I take care of action. And boom, let's say I knock him out. I take one of his eyes, I rip his ear out. Bam, I pull the hair off his scalp. He goes to the ground. Boom, put a knee in his spine. And then I call the cops and say, hey, this guy tried to attack me. Now, that doesn't make me, obviously, any better than the guy who trains like a beast and fights in the cage. But at the same time, it doesn't make them any better than me. You see, we're all in this art for different reasons. For whatever reason, we took the art. Some people learn martial arts to go to the cage. Some people learn martial arts to defend themselves in the street. Now, the actual techniques that are used to defend yourself, in one hand, is almost irrelevant. What's more important when you're learning martial arts is that it bolsters your confidence, is that you sharpen your tools, and you may not be the best fighter. You may not have the best techniques, but you're ready and you're prepared, and psychologically, boom, you're there. So, if you were to look at the two, the average Joe Schmo, walk in the street, and then bam, I have to defend myself and I take care of action. And you look at the MMA guys who work out every single day and practice and then to get to one point, we're both one and the same. The difference is that my fight might happen 20 minutes from now or never happen, but I prepare myself no matter what. Their fight is going to happen because they have a date when they're going to meet to fight. And so they fight towards that. That's where weight cutting comes in. That's where weight building comes in. That's where, all of the conditioning, your camp, your cardio, and so on. You got a crew of people helping you, getting Shark Tank, and so on. And you got a team of people that are helping you towards this time, this one day. And what I have is the constant daily, day in, day out workout of sharpening my mind and getting the confidence that I need, that if a fight were to happen, boom, I can try to execute and take care of business. Now, I use the word try because that is the operative word here. We all try. Even these two MMA guys, they're going to try to do something, and one of them is going to be the victor, and one of them is not. So when I look at the guy who confronted me, who tried to put his hand on me in the city, and then I take care of action, boom, 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 boom. The one edge that I have that the two MMA fighters don't have is that these two guys know and knew that on that day they were going to get together and they were going to fight each other. So they already knew that they were going to fight, and so they prepared themselves. I went to work, and although I was prepared, I prepare myself every day, I was going to work in the city, I'm going to meet a client, boom, all of a sudden this happens, and now I have to make sure that I take care of myself right then and there. No contracts, no putting on the cups, no putting on my mouth guard, just boom, this is it. No preparing for it, no psychological preparation. Now I just have to fight or flight, I just got to make it happen. So the element of surprise here is the one major difference. See, this guy may have been bigger than me. He may have been the alpha. He came in to attack me, obviously. But because he's the one who confronted me, in a sense, psychologically, he felt like he was in a better position of power because obviously he was the one who initiated it. But just like anything else, something abrupt happens in life and reality hits and it shifts everything. So when I reacted to what he was going to do, oh, snap, he was not prepared for that. And I'm going to be all over him like white on rice in seconds. Again, it doesn't mean that I'm so awesome. It just means that the element of surprise, his lack of foresight in thinking that he was going to find someone like me who was just prepared to fight, obviously worked against him. But it doesn't change the fact that in martial arts, there are different objectives. Again, you have the MMA guys, and then you have your average Joe who just wants to make sure that he's defending himself. And so when I teach my students, the whole thing is, number one is I say, try to avoid fighting. We're in here building camaraderie. We're in here building confidence. We're in here building our body. We're in here conditioning our bones. We're in here building our endurance. And if one day it turns out that someone confronted you in the street and you had to defend yourself, then at the very least you would be prepared, and that psychologically you can put yourself in that position at that moment. And that's it. And then I have some students who want to go and fight in the cage, and that's perfectly awesome also. But I would say to all the guys out there who call themselves martial artists, stop making all of these delineations. Stop making all of these separations. You know, you're doing the art a disservice. And I think that it really shows more of your inadequacies and your insecurities and really your mindset in what you think and why you learn martial arts to begin with. Where we're really a community of one, or at least we should be, because there are people out there who are getting bullied day in and day out. There are people out there who are getting beat up by their significant other or spouse or partner. There are people out there who are put in situations where they're in the street and they need to fend for themselves. There are people out there who can't even afford to take a class so that they can learn self-defense or get some sort of confidence. And I can go on and on and on. And that's what we're there for, or that's what we're supposed to be there for. So for all those people out there, and there are a lot of famous people too, who are making all of these separations and delineations and all of these walls and saying this art is better and this art is better and this art sucks and this sucks and da-da-da. You know, you're really doing the whole martial arts community a disservice, and you should feel disgusted with yourself and embarrassed. And really, your teacher or your coach or whomever taught you should have told you that a long time ago, and shame on him or her who, if they didn't, because obviously the outcome wasn't fruitful. So again, stop talking about all of the different arts, and this art is better because of this, and this art is better because of this, and these guys for sure are the new version of this, and these are two separate things. And if you're smart enough, you would see the separation. And no one's saying or shouldn't say that this one is better than this one. You, as an individual, as a soul human being, as a contributor to this world, it is your job to be a light in a dark place and take everything that you learn and grow yourself and let people want to follow that because you've set an example. Not because you say this art is the best and this and that and so on and so forth. I just think it does everybody a disservice. So that is my message for today. I know there are a lot of little pieces of modules that I left in this whole video, but really dissect everything that I'm saying. At the end of the day, listen, we're all one human race. I've heard it a trillion times from all different sorts of people. Oh man, if only we can have peace. Oh wow, why are people so bad? Oh, why don't we? Well, you know what? All of that is pie in the sky, but it is possible and achievable if we as individuals, because one is one person, two or two people, groups, and then so on and so on and so forth. The world is just comprised of individuals. So when it comes down to being an individual, you gotta worry about yourself, and then you be that light and be that change. But if you can't, then you will continue to perpetuate the problem that we have around this world, unfortunately. So that's all that I have. That's my rant for the day. Thanks a lot, all right?